We were together. We were happy. Oh, what?
I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but...
After years of the series being inactive, and even supposedly cancelled by Ian not too long ago on moral grounds, a new content cop on Ethan Klein has just dropped just over a week ago, and that's given it enough time to simmer and have all the relevant parties respond to this new installment in the series. When I initially watched it, I wasn't 100% on Ian's side, and there were points where I agreed and where I disagreed. But since then I've gained more knowledge and ultimately come to the conclusion that this content cop is probably one of the worst videos Ian has ever put out. Now to start, a large part of this video is this gimmick where Ian is with his group of lackeys, aka his new friends, and they're all teamed up together because they are supposedly Ethan Klein's worst enemy, coming together to taunt Ethan like this is some playground argument, even posting photos of the group all together to promote the content cop and taunt Ethan further. And the main issue with this, and really the majority of the content cop itself, is how manipulative it is. Ethan not liking these people is being treated like they had a few disagreeing opinions, which they did, but Ethan isn't sipping the haterade over some petty drama. A good number of the faces that we see here have accused Ethan Klein of things that are horrendous and have spread lies and gossip with the goal of taking his family away from him, over claims that his kids are getting giardia because Ethan is too much of a inconsiderate slob to clean the dog that's been supposedly collecting up in his house, which is supposedly leading his kids to getting sick and possibly dying. This all stemmed from an episode of the podcast where Ethan claimed that his baby had some sort of issue with diarrhea, and because of claims of the messy house from his former maid, a group of totally normal people came to the conclusion that the two must be connected and Ethan Klein is a horrible father who neglects his kids. This all culminated into Child Protective Services being called to Ethan's house, where they harassed him and his family, potentially traumatizing his kids, and some of the people he defends and that are seen in this photo are complicit in spreading this misinformation. And an overarching theme of the content cop is that Ethan Klein is just too mentally ill and unstable.
Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace.
These people are all actually completely reasonable, and Ethan Klein is just crashing out because of his mental health. When in reality, Ethan Klein is 100% valid in not liking these fucking creatures. In the juvenile, snarky way that these creators are acting on stream, joining together and taunting Ethan like this is just petty YouTube drama, when in reality these people have spread lies about him that have threatened to dismantle his family, is genuinely evil. Speaking of evil, Ian would upload this content cop while Ethan was live. And this is bad because Lena, who is both friends with Ian, maybe ex-friends now, and Ethan, was in the room and was not told that the content cop was being uploaded at that time. While also being Ethan's friend, Lena is also working for Ethan, and she also has a card in Creator Clash 3. She starts having a panic attack in the bathroom, probably thinking she's about to get fired or chewed out, because this video came out while she was in the same room as Ethan.
There's more bad news?
I do have some more bad news for you. Some breaking news. Your old friend Idubbbz just released a video.
Yeah.
It's about you.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. That is the... No, it can't be. Like, we have one disagreement where I get upset because you guys aren't defending me publicly. After everything I've done to support you guys, and like you bring on people who are f***ing Denims and Frogan, who did a f***ing anti-Semitic tier list, and you're platforming them and co-signing them. And by the way, to even make it even more crazy, Lena's fighting in your fight, bro. Like, what the f*** are you doing? I actually can't believe that he did this. By the way, Idubbbz, Lena's having a panic attack because why would you do this and not even tell her? Like, why would you invite someone on the show and do this? It's just fucking mean-spirited.
I mean, imagine like you're at your boss's house and the guy that your boss knows is your friend starts throwing eggs and shouting at him. It's like, is that your man's? You're out of here. Like, and then Ian comes up with the excuse that it was a production issue. That Ian put out the video.
You don't look right now, but there's 3 femboys walking by.
Where?
Next to the line.
issue that Ian put out the video not even 30 minutes into Ethan's podcast going live that day. Yeah, sure, it was a production issue, buddy. So great, not only does your video just suck, and in the video you make a point about Ethan abusing his staff, you go ahead and give one of their staff a panic attack because of your poor decisions and a mistake that you made. These people are just great, right? Anyways, like I said a little bit earlier, a predominant theme in this content cop is that Ethan Klein is simply too mentally unwell to understand what he's saying. Yeah, maybe if Ethan grew and gained empathy like Ian did when he was 32, every issue Ian has could be solved, and we could all be happy together running around in the fields and smoking crack, or I know I would. That being said, after nearly 10 years of the series being left dormant and abandoned, not even just disavowed, but full-on removed from his channel, why now has Ian decided to bring the series back? And I think there are two factors. This is me a few days later. When I first recorded this narration, the creator clash was still seemingly going on. There were some issues with ticket sales and the stuff with Lena, but today, as I'm recording this, Harley from Epic Mealtime, an instrumental figure in creator clash, has announced he's stepping down because Ian has made the event too political. They're seemingly trying to find fighters, and every fighter they've reached out to has denied that request. Going back to what I originally recorded, even though Creator Clash 3 was not announced in the H3 content cop, they started talking about it right after, and it doesn't really seem like a coincidence that right as he's starting to announce his new boxing event, suddenly there's a big new video. But that doesn't fully explain why Ethan is the target. For those who don't know, Ian started getting around the crowd of the Hasans of the world before any of the controversy between Hasan and Ethan Klein went on over the Israel-Palestine conflict. So ever since then, he has probably been in private chats talking with these people negatively about Ethan. But I think what really set this off was Ethan Klein asking Ian to make a public statement disavowing what Froggy, his former editor, and some of his other friends were saying online about the situation with his family. Ian refused to talk about it publicly, and while on the surface this might sound a bit policing, again, these were people who were spreading misinformation that could dismantle his family. So it makes sense that Ian and Ethan being friends going back 8 years, he'd come up to him and be like, hey, your new friends are kinda suck and are spreading false information. Can you clarify a few things for me, or at least unfollow them? And Ian was like, no, I don't feel like it. So H3 went on his podcast and went on a rant about Ian, saying how he felt betrayed by this action. So Ian sees this and goes to his new group of friends, like, oh yeah, you know that Ethan Klein guy that we all hate? He just made this thing about me. He just talked very negatively about me on his podcast, and then everybody else was like, oh yeah, that Ethan Klein guy. He flipping sucks. And then somebody in the chat probably suggested, hey, how about you make a content cop about Ian, and we can all be in it? Maybe not that way exactly, but I imagine that's how things came together. In conclusion, whether or not you agree with Ethan Klein or think he's a good person, in this case, you can't deny that he 100% has a valid reason to dislike these weirdos that Ian is now choosing to hang out with. And the way that Ian never talks about these points, completely glossing over them, even though he played clips from a video that was titled about the situation and didn't mention it, and then saying that Ian is just too mentally unwell to understand what's going on and nothing he's saying makes sense. You know, have you ever thought, like, we're not the crazy ones, you're just too mentally ill to understand what the fuck we're saying, and it's ruining your life, and actually I care about you. Here's this really pretentious segment where everyone who just talked to you and tried to ruin your family is going to say one positive thing about you. Yeah, fuck Ian and fuck everybody in this stupid fucking video. Idubbbz is this lovely lady over here who was one of the main proponents in spreading these lies about how Ethan's kids were getting sick. Multiple times she would hear on stream people describing these conspiracy theories and blindly believe them and spread them to her audience with no questions asked.
Covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something.
Maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit.
after Child Protective Services went to Ethan's house, and Ethan stated that he was afraid the whole event would traumatize his kids. Idubbbz would try and defend what happened by saying, well, kids can't really remember anything before they're 5 years old. And then after she looks it up and proves herself wrong on stream, she backpedals and refuses to accept that she was wrong.
You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old. There's a wide variation across about the mean across methods cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3.
You literally just read out of your mouth that the average adult starts forming memories at 3.
Nothing is what you mean to me. Nothing is what you'll always be. Nothing is all you ever do. And nothing is what will become of you.
Now, Frogan is an interesting character. She was apparently one of Hasan's Twitch mods, and she's won Upcoming Streamer Award, whatever it's called, something around those lines, twice, which doesn't really make sense. How can you win an Upcoming Award twice? I mean, the first time is supposed to be when you're actually up and coming. Is her YouTube career like a crypto coin? It dips and then it comes back up suddenly, and it's like, oh, it's going to the moon, but it never does. Yeah, I think comparing Frogan's whole career to a crypto coin is a pretty good analogy. Even though she doesn't get really good views, she's constantly propped up by Hasan and his friends. She's well known for just being a nasty person. It's not just her politics, just hearing her on screen talk and how she interacts with people, she's just so obnoxious. I can't imagine why anyone would want to hang around her even if they agree with her political takes. I kind of see Frogan in the same way that I see Grums. Even though they're on completely different sides of the political spectrum, it's just their attitude and how they carry themselves that makes them so obnoxious to me. But she said stuff like US veterans deserve PTSD, and joking about making a 9/11 cake as a celebration for a sub-goal. Now, I don't mind edgy humor, but the difference between the average 9/11 joke and what Frogan is doing here is that with the average 9/11 joke, it's shock humor. They're not celebrating it, they're not condoning it. It's just shock humor bringing up an extremely tragic event to catch people off guard. But what Frogan is doing here is definitely celebrating what happened, which is the nuance that makes it distasteful and not just an edgy joke. Going back to the US veteran thing, she would say this on stream, and then later on after the clip was posted, she would double down being like, oh, this is based actually? Based? Based? But now in her most recent apology video, she's backtracking on it. Now in her latest video, she clarifies that what she meant is not all United States soldiers, but only the soldiers who have committed war crimes, which to be honest is what I knew she actually meant from the beginning. It's just the way that she talked about it afterwards made it sound like she doesn't care about any United States soldier, and she's generalizing every single person who served. But it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that's what she originally meant. And Hasan butts in to say, oh, the only reason people hate Frogan is because she's brown and she wears a hijab. Are you f***ing for real? Or are you genuinely, you looked into your camera and you said that with a straight face? It's like when people criticize you, Hasan. I'm sure a lot of people who have seen what you said and disagreed with you didn't even know that you were Turkish and you're technically not white. It has nothing to do with you or Frogan or anybody else in the group's race. The wide range of racial diversity the group in this video has, also being made up of multiple white people, each of them is getting the exact same criticism. Also, to bring up Frogan again, I find it ironic that she wears a hijab, even though on her Twitter page, she will publicly retweet pornography. I saw somebody commented on this, so I went on her page and scrolled down for like 30 seconds and came across a photo of, I assume, one of her friends, topless, that she retweeted. What's the point in trying to not look indecent in public if the public can see your goon stash? Like, what are we doing here? Now, to end things off, what I think is really sad about this whole situation around Ian is not that he's a leftist now. I don't care that he's a leftist. He probably had center-left views back in the day. It's not about his politics. He's chosen to hang out with some of the most unhonest, slimy people in the leftist streamer space. Out of all the leftists he could have befriended, he befriended Frogan, Hasan, Idubbbz, and whoever these other people are. I don't know this guy's name in the back, but I know what he's most well known for. When Destiny said the N-word on stream, he went on stream and said if somebody just went out and killed this guy, we'd have socialism by now.
Can somebody just like, it would just be so easy to just, it would solve all of our problems. Like, we would have socialism now at this point.
You hear that, United States government? Your days are numbered. If this guy ever dies, the entire government is going to crumble, bringing forth the new socialist revolution led by Frogan, Hasan Piker, and Ian from Hair Cake. You have to lock him up in a facility and put him on a life-preserving machine for as long as you can to preserve the American way. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I'm sure a lot of people out there are pretty disappointed to see what's happened to Ethan. Me personally, I don't really get nostalgic for anything except for real life experiences I had when I was a little kid. I've come to terms with the fact that all the people that I liked watching growing up just kinda suck now, so I can live with Ian not making good content. Either way, it's still sad to see where things have gone, but it means you have an opportunity to find new, better creators to subscribe to. Like the Mr. Epic on YouTube. Anyways, that's it for today. And don't forget to play a little bit of Fortnite.
Messiah in black, what you preach you don't seem to back. Messiah in black, communication's what you lack. Messiah in green, keep the locks on your fighting machine.